seeing a fancy young lad in the morning. You lose some weight?
Oh, I gotta write the Musgrove, the committee of Musgrove.
I put it on my topic sheet. I'm just letting you know there's a rainy day. Top 5 trains, Sin Choo Choo.
People in sports, you sound like.
I don't know what I wrote down for. Just Sin Choo Choo is on there. Choo Choo.
I got it. Yeah, yeah.
Change the date on top, and everything is updated.
You lost some weight, Whitty?
Maybe.
I think you did. I changed my topic. Chris, did you get that? I just took the Rangers out and added dog treats.
Can you just manually
And
add
top
that,
5
add that back
quarterbacks
in
with the most approved this year.
with like a pen? We already printed like 15 sheets of paper each.
That's funny. Are you guys ready?
What happened?
I mean, if 2 is not at the top of that list, I don't know what that list is doing.
Can you get me the wheel of local issues?
Where does climate change threatening to wreck our city fit on the wheel of issues? Does it have a bigger slice of the wheel than the other topics, or?
The city's fine, okay? It's just Brickell, all right?
Edgewater was also underwater. Also, I like the people that are like, Miami's going to be underwater in 5 years. And it's like, Miami's literally underwater every time it rains.
Been hearing that for 20 years.
Oh, old climate change denier over here.
No, I'm not denying
Looks
it.
fine to
Just-
me outside.
Just Miami's going to be underwater. I've been hearing that forever.
Is it possible the
Get
people
underwater already?
the people that built Brickell are just fucking dumbasses?
Yes.
Because like
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was telling Whitty this morning, I spill a cup of water and Brickell's under 3 feet of water somehow.
Billy, how is it possible that they're building new buildings that the garages underground are already flooding? Like they're
they're
flooding.
underground. That's
But you can't have a
Just-
rain come through and your new building already has all of its cars underwater.
Brickell's a disaster. And every time that there's a storm or anytime it rains, the newsroom just perks up and they're like, Brickell, now, head over there.
There's a news director who is delighted that there's 4 inches of rain.
Well, you say this, I was laughing because the Weather Channel had a guy just standing over there downtown where 395 starts, and he kept going from the median to sticking his rain boot in a foot of water. And then he started yelling at a guy who came by on a scooter, smiling with an Uber Eats order, like drove right through the water. And he's like, I don't know why that guy thinks it's so funny. And he just like lectured him as an Uber Eats guy just went riding by with somebody's delivery.
You guys are disgusted when you see people walk through like the waist deep water, right? Because like that's raw sewage. Like if you accidentally fall and your mouth is open, you have typhoid now.
Can you just not go out? Like, can you not go out on Saturday night or Friday night if a tropical storm is coming? Like, it's possible to not go out because there was videos of people nicely dressed. Someone almost got hit by a car.
I saw
going
that.
through waist deep. Like,
that was
that.
can you
terrifying.
just take a Friday night off
Out of a club.
It's fine.
Yeah.
No, that was the video of the weekend. It was the girl in the like going out like silver dress trying to push the BMW out of like 4 feet of water. I was actually in an Uber on Friday, and the Uber driver was like, I'm not working tonight because no one's going to go out. But tomorrow night, even if it's tropical storming, everyone's going out because it's Saturday. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
Everyone just go home.
It's Miami. That's not how that one goes.
I mean, we spent enough Friday and Saturday nights inside. A little rain shouldn't stop anyone. That's all I'm saying, right?
It was
People want to
11
get out.
inches of
You have to
rain.
swim to your car.
I know, but people want to go out. They
This
want
is
to
a
do stuff.
pandemic thing
I mean,
still. People haven't. It's been like a year and a half. People have been going
the
out. like
warnings
normal.
were of tornadoes and cyclones, and they were
Yeah.
just telling you on television, maybe don't go out tonight. What are you about?
I mean, that's where we live. We live in the land of tornadoes and hurricanes
right.
and being underwater and rain. We deal with it. We go out. I mean, rain's not going to it's not going to keep me from going out. I'm telling you that right now.
A tornado worked out great
Umbrella.
for Dorothy. Yeah.
I'm also like watching people go through the water, and I'm like, how do they know there's not like a downed power line in there and that they're going to zap themselves? It's terrifying.
That's how people
Or an
die,
alligator.
though. But that is an alligator. An alligator.
shark, Dan.
An alligator is less likely. The shark thing never actually happened. I'm carrying around the weight of somebody thinking that I thought a shark on the highway underwater was something that was real. That was something that was put on me by Mike Ryan, and it began this descent into me becoming a character who gets fooled by every single thing on the internet, every ass crack, every butt crack.
Ball sack.
But it started with a total fabrication.
Those stupid fish swimming through a store. Don't they know they should stay like in their habitat?
Yeah, well
Stupid
said.
fish.
Little rusty. Chris Cody is headed into
What do you mean?
into
Did
the
you not
work
see?
week.
That's what we're talking about. The fish swimming
Yeah,
through the store.
He's right.
They need to stay
What
in
I
their
heard,
habitat.
what I heard was Billy
Stupid
yelling
fish.
at you that you had said that well. That's what I heard.
I'm here to support people, man.
I've got that is not in any way true.
What do you mean?
It's not in any way true. Can you get me the wheel, please, of local issues, Stugotz? Because we've got a
Wow.
lot of things to get to, and we haven't used the wheel for local issues in a while. Is it? Can we get it? Do we know where it is?
I found it.
All right,
It's
so
here.
all right,
A little rusty.
spin it to get some of the dust off it so that I could see everything that's on this. Okay. All right, it's a lot, Stugotz. So you've got.
It sounds fine. It also sounds like the same wheel. I mean,
It sounds similar because the wheel sounds similar, but it's not. It's a totally different wheel. And what's on it is Kendrick Perkins saying you got to blow up the heat, blow up the core. It's not good enough. It's literally one shot.
yeah.
It's one shot of difference, and he says blow it all up. You've got Vasilevsky, this guy.
Oh, yeah.
This guy. He doesn't allow. He allows 3 goals in 4 games to the greatest hockey offense we've ever seen, and now he never loses 2 in a row. And then he gets to the Rangers and he allows 9 goals in 2 games.
Thankfully, he turned in a quintessential Vasilevsky performance in Game 3 to keep that series alive. But those first 2 games, there are a lot of F-bombs aimed at Andrei Vasilevsky from me.
One of the great sports headlines I've seen is on the wheels, Stugotz, from this weekend. The Heat being interested in Patrick Beverley is on the wheel. The Marlins have an ace. Billy's got an ace. Your team is better, Billy, than the record would indicate. Like the run differential is the same as the Rays and the Blue Jays and the Braves.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Well,
They
but
won
I-
a game by like 14
Yeah,
runs.
but they're
the
not.
other day.
But they're not as bad. No team in the league deserves to have a better record. They are at a worse record for their run differential than I think any team in the league.
Yeah. I mean, we have people back here debating whether or not Sandy's actually an ace.
We're discussing topics before the wheel has been spun.
No, I
mean,
just want to put it out there. Well, Billy, thank you, because we have to bring to the committee not only is Sandy an ace.
Well, debatable. If it lands on that spot, we can get into that.
We got to bring it to the committee, but also Stugotz came in here today roaring on a Monday because he was intent on putting before the committee that Joe Musgrove is a horse.
Yeah.
That he's ascended to horse, that he wants to give him caballo. I think the name Joe Musgrove really works here. Joe is a good name for a horse.
You're right.
Joe goes out
Better
there
name for a big pig, though.
and he put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Is Joe a better name for a horse or a big pig?
You know, like the pigs that weigh like 400 pounds that are like 4 feet long and tall? Yeah.
So is this one of the options on the wheel?
Yes,
or?
all of these
Okay.
options are on the wheel. Also, Tua's interview with Muscle and Fitness, Stugotz.
Oh, wow.
And as I said, one of the greatest headlines I've ever seen. So go ahead and spin the wheel, and you tell me where it is, Stugotz, that this lands. Oh, and I missed one. milkshakes with buffalo wings in them and ranch dressing.
It landed on that.
What was that? The baseball team. It's unfortunate Mike Ryan's not here today. Maybe we should call him. He was a college baseball fan, rabid, for 3 minutes. He said he was
36 hours.
It was going to take up his entire summer rooting on the Canes, and now Gino DeMadre. They've ruined everything that Ron Frazier built, that Brad Kelly initially ruined. They've ruined it all. That team had so much hope, and now what they're in the news for this weekend is a milkshake. Does that sound good to you, Jessica? With buffalo wings, I think celery and ranch.
I mean, when I saw Mike's Instagram story with the milkshake on it, I knew he wasn't going to be in today, right? Like, we all saw that and we're like, oh, Mike's going to work from home.
Nobody
on
can
Monday.
fake enthusiasm about a team like Mike Ryan, huh? Man, he's just elite at that. Boom, overnight, biggest baseball fan you've ever met. It's honestly impressive.
He's a Golden Cane. I'm wondering if he wants Damari out. Ruiz is a big Damari backer.
Another thing about this shake, Dan, like the promotional pictures, it was like an actual wing and celery and like in a milkshake, but then Mike's picture, it was just like all liquid. So did they blend up the chicken into the milkshake, or did he eat the wing and then wash it down with ranch milkshake?
Or do you get the milkshake to say you got the milkshake, but then you take the wings and the celery and the carrot stick out?
What is the point? What are we trying to do there? Trying to go viral by being disgusting?
Yes.
Like there's no way
worked.
but there's no way that can be something that is appetizing to people, correct? Like I even understand like fries and a Frosty, but wings and celery and ranch with a milkshake, like that's truly.
It could be good.
No, it can't
Yeah,
be.
no,
it can't be.
What's the leap
It's
you're
like
making
90
there?
degrees out. You're gonna drink a buffalo wing milkshake
Would you
ranch?
eat wings in that weather? I would eat it. And
Honestly,
it's cold,
no.
yeah.
Wings when it's hot out like doesn't sound that good.
It's all going to the same spot anyway, right? And now
Wings
we could-
always sound good.
Yeah.
I mean,
cut out the chewing. I'm in heaven.
That's a cold weather food.
Let's spin the wheel again here. See what else is on there.
You can only eat wings in the cold?
weird.
Why they're called buffalo wings?
Huh? That's not why.
That isn't why.
They eat them in Buffalo.
Yeah, where it's cold.
I know, but it's warm there sometimes as well.
I thought
Yeah,
I was
summer.
eating buffalo.
I don't
Let's ask
think
Bob about
I don't
that.
think this is the origin story of the buffalo wing. We'll get to in a second. What did it land on there, Stugotz?
I landed on Kendrick Perkins, Dan.
All right, so Kendrick Perkins is saying, Stugotz, that game last night I did not think was very interesting. It was also very bad basketball. It was not just a bad game; it was bad basketball.
For the most part, the playoffs have been bad basketball. For the most part.
That's not true. I'm not even saying that it was a bad game because it was a blowout, though it was that too. The Celtics are like taking no twos. They've got fewer twos through 2 games than any team in the league, and if they're going to start missing threes, it's going to look like last night looked, where they get to 80 points and they look constipated the entire time. It's weird that Jason Tatum goes from them winning on the road by 12 when he goes 3 for 17. And then he has a more Tatum-like performance last night, but the rest of the team was just dreadful. Look at all their guys. They got nothing from anybody. Al Horford took 1 shot, Stugotz, in the post where he had the mismatch that legitimately hit not the top of the backboard, the top of the backboard. Like,
Yes.
he was right by the basket, and he just launched it up near the shot clock.
Everyone's entitled to an off night, even one of the all-time greats. Al had one of those. You're right. They wasted the Jason Tatum game. They didn't get help from Marcus Smart. They got no help from Al Horford. They got no help from Williams. And that's what happens. And Jaylen Brown, was south of 20 points. And so, Golden State, then they were playing desperate. They needed that game. They weren't going back to Boston down 0-2. That was an easy game to predict. Golden State winning that game. And Boston being tired,
But the first one wasn't, though. Don't get me tired today. Why wouldn't they have been tired a couple of days ago? Like that.
Adrenaline, Dan. And they got the game. Listen, you just need to win 1 of 2, and they got it.
But it's
so
not
last night was a house money game.
Okay, fine. But it
They had
can't
like
be,
4 days off in between.
it can't be tired game 2, but not tired game 1, Stugotz. They shot well in game 1, and they surprised people by having an enormous fourth quarter.
Right.
And they took a game from Golden State where Steph Curry scored 35. But getting back to what Kendrick Perkins says, you explain this to me, okay? Because in the land of the take, Kendrick Perkins has now established himself as someone who will go on television and say things. But what is the value? Not just when Draymond Green says, hey, my words are worth more than yours, and continually points out you're out here being critical and you weren't somebody who could actually do many of the things that are being done on the court today. Like, you got to your fame because you got a big mouth, you won a championship in Boston, and you were a square guy who said a lot of picks. And Kendrick Perkins is now out here saying, and his assessment is, on a core that had Tyler Hero out and Kyle Lowry clearly hurt, that got a shot away or an instant replay away from being able to still be playing games so that he would not ever make this comment right now. How is it possible that that could be the degree of sports analysis when it's going to ring that empty, your analysis? This team is a bounce away from playing in games that would never allow him to say what he's saying right now. He wouldn't say this core can't win if what they were doing is coming off of a Game 1 win at Golden State. It's not a thing he would say. So how can the assessment be that flimsy?
He probably doesn't think that they would win Game 1 on the road if they were playing against the Golden State Warriors. That's where the take is born. Dan, it's an easy take to make. It is. He doesn't think a team led by Jimmy Butler is good enough in the East to win an NBA title. It's an easy take, and he's also factoring in this. The Nets, he's factoring in the Celtics, he's factoring in the Milwaukee Bucks, the Sixers, the Raptors, and he's looking at the landscape. It's an easy take to make.
All the teams that Miami was better than this year.
Correct. But is he wrong, though? I mean, you yourself said that you didn't think they were going to win the finals.
I don't think they're going to win the finals either.
Then he's not wrong.
No, the part that he's wrong about is you cannot make these echoing assessments based on injury and a bounce. Like, you can tinker with the roster without saying blow the whole thing up like that. You're a bounce away. Do you know how many teams never get here? Like, Utah just let go of its coach. Was it ever this far? Quinn Snyder went 8 years there. Did they ever get this far? Like, it's not easy to get this far. You get a bounce away from the finals, and then it's just like blow the whole thing up. When you can't make an accurate assessment on Lowry and Hero, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's nuanced in any way. It's just flaming and hot and useless.
But there's evidence in Heat history of them making these assessments in unfair situations. In 2005, they lost the Eastern Conference Finals to Detroit, and Dwayne Wade was injured in the series. If Dwayne Wade were healthy, maybe they beat Detroit. Maybe they win that championship, and then the Heat blew the thing up. They changed a whole bunch of that team year over year. And I do think that there is merit to at least asking the question, not based off of the way that the playoffs played out, but based off of what you think of the Miami Heat. Is there another level for them to find? Are there moves? I don't think it involves trading Jimmy Butler, but I do think that you do have to ask questions. Are there big changes that are needed here?
No, but wait a minute. You can't say the first part of that doesn't do anything. When you say, I don't think it has to do with saying trade Jimmy Butler. He's saying trade Jimmy Butler. He's saying blow the whole thing up. He's not saying tinker. He's not saying don't send Lowry and Hero for Donovan Mitchell. He's saying it can't be done around Jimmy Butler when 2 of the last 3 years they've been right there, and he's saying that's it. It's over when
he's saying that's the ceiling for this particular team with Jimmy Butler. It's the NBA Finals in a bubble, and it's losing in the Eastern Conference Finals.
But Stugotz,
they've reached the ceiling.
So, Stugotz, all these other teams that you mentioned, though, Milwaukee's the only one who actually did it. You mentioned all these Torontos and Philadelphias and Nets and everybody else.
Right.
And Miami's the only one that's done it 2 of the last 3 years.
And he's not blowing up those teams. You're right. He's not saying blow up the Nets. He's not saying blow up the Sixers.
If that's your standard, then it applies to blow up everybody because nobody's close. If your standard is the Miami Heat are not close, then nobody's close. They've been there for 2 of the last 3 years. Like when the Lakers drop in and drop out, when the Celtics happen to be in the finals this time, but they haven't been this far before. Like to me, it's just silly analysis.
You're very emotional about what Kendrick Perkins had to say.
So personally, who cares?
Because I miss it already.
But I also agree with like the, and there was a conversation that Stephen A. Smith and Kevin Durant had on social media about what's actually ruined sports discourse, whether it was Michael Jordan or hot takers. And I do think that hot takers basically saying everything needs to be blown up unless it wins the championship, it's a fairly miserable existence to live in sports. Like if the Heat can back themselves to go again and figure out Pat Riley find a move, or Jimmy Butler, have another season like that, have another play. If the Miami Heat, of all teams, who have fought their way to being a game away from the NBA Finals, a shot away from the NBA Finals, can't figure out a way to go again instead of just saying, we'll blow the thing up because it's run its course. Maybe it has run its course. And honestly, you can maybe say that Kendrick Perkins has vision here because maybe the Heat have run its course. But I can't imagine that in their offices, that's what they're thinking right now. They can't be thinking, let's blow the thing up. This is over. We're not this is as far as we're going to get.
You can struggle with all of it, and your analysis is not sound if one shot goes differently. And it's analysis that you would not make again. Like, that is not a correct measurement of what the Heat blueprint is, that you would say that the injured version of it that got right to the cusp of things and ended up having it fall apart, that simply can't win.
But they were playing a Boston team that also had injured pieces in Robert Williams and Marcus Smart. And if your assessment at the end of that is this current group can't be better than this Boston team, then I can understand why, even if it does come down to a shot. But if you asked us after Game 5, I wasn't here after Game 5, but the show was pretty well burying the Heat. A lot of people were burying the Heat.
Well, but I was talking about you can't do anything in the way of measurements off of injuries. Like, this is why I'm talking about moral victories.
But you can't envision a scenario in which during next year's conference finals, if the Heat are there, they're 100% healthy. You just can't. So you have to make.
I understand that
it's.
I understand that it's basketball and that everybody is a version of injured. But what I'm saying to you is that the measurement is super imperfect if it can be sent one way or the other by the single making of a shot. Like, the one shot gets made and your assessment is different is not sound.
Whitty, what he is saying is you can't have that assessment on the heels of the Heat 2 times in 3 years. Once making it to the NBA Finals, 2 Eastern Conference Finals, shot away from making it back to the NBA Finals. You can't make it there. How can you do that?
Shot.
I would say that's the most difficult time to make that assessment. That's a good job by Kendrick Perkins. It's a great take. You're taking a team who's been very close to winning it all 2 of the last 3 seasons, and you're saying, hey, that team, not good enough. Good job by Perk.
I agree with Stugotz because your goal as a sports fan isn't to almost make it to the big championship. Yeah. Your goal is to win the big championship. It's not good enough if your college football team just makes it to the college football playoff and gets blown out in a game. You have to make it to the national championship and win the national championship, or else everyone's going to jump down your throats.
Would either of you be saying today, if Miami had won that game, that Jimmy Butler needs to be traded and the Heat need to be blown up while they're in the finals? Would either of you be saying that today?
Are the Heat down 2-0? I need to know.
That's what matters.
If
Are they
they're
down
down
that
2-0,
Pat Riley won't be around for another rebuild.
Are they down to that quarter?
It also matters if the Heat are covering, Dan. If they're going to get blown out and not even cover, you got to blow up the team.
No doubt.
Riley won't be around for another one of these, right? This is it. Just tinker to this and then he's not going to be around for another 6-year plan.
You're not going to you can't rule anything out with Pat Riley.
Well, I think you can rule out the idea that they would tank. I think you would rule out. What he's saying is there's not going to be any 6-year rebuild. It's all about win now, right now.
But can you rule out Riley blowing up a team that was a shot away from the NBA Finals? Can you rule that out?
Blowing up the entire team, Stugotz?
I mean, it sounds ridiculous.
What are you talking about?
I'm just, listen, that's what I'm not talking about it. Kendrick Perkins is.
You're saying it's a great take.
I didn't bring it up.
Don't hide behind Perk now after you just said what a great take it is.
I'm saying the timing of the take is perfect. I mean, the only time that would be better to have that take is if the Heat were up 2-0 in the NBA Finals. Not good enough. Blow it up.
Let's get to what Whittingham was saying.
It could be vision, as Whittingham's saying, right? You're that close and you realize, you know what? Just not going to work. Why keep pushing through? Let's just,
Right.
Let's change course right now.
I mean, the Phoenix Suns kind of have to blow it up, don't they? It's not good enough.
It's not.
It's not. Blow it up.
77, Riley's not signing up for a 6-year rebuild, right?
Who don't you want it to blow it up, Stugotz? Give me the 3 teams.
Memphis, they're fine. They're good. Don't blow it up. Keep it as is. They're very good. Dallas, no, I'm not going to go Dallas. Let me see here, Dan. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're fine. Don't blow it up. The Sixers need to be blown up. I think that's it. Those are the only two teams where I'm good. Status
Brooklyn needs
quo.
to blow it up.
So,
No,
so
Brooklyn
30
doesn't
teams,
need to blow it
30
up.
teams,
What? No.
29 teams in the league need to blow it up.
Yeah, I think that's fair. 29 teams. Golden State's fine too. They don't need to blow it up.
Brooklyn's fine?
They're good. Yeah, Brooklyn's fine. Totally fine. They have Durant, they have Kyrie, and when you have those two, you always have a chance. They're fine.
I heard sign-in trade rumors for Kyrie Irving this morning. This morning.
I mean, what
Rumors.
Stugotz
no
just
one's
said
blowing it up.
is flabbergasting, but I don't even know where to start. I'm so shocked.
Well, there's a difference between blowing it up and tinkering. Some of these teams you can tinker
Bingo.
with. Yeah.
Yes.
I just love making all of sports fantasy and fantasy that you don't actually care about. Like fantasy, none of you would just blow up your team if it was this close to winning something. Your little piddly fantasy team. None of you would blow it up if it was right there.
Would you blow up the Mavericks? Or would you tinker?
Stugotz, I'm not
Listen,
running around.
You're the one who started this game, not me.
No, you started the game by blowing everybody up and saying everyone can and should be blown up. But I want to get back to what Whittingham was saying about the argument with Durant and Stephen A.
I want
Because
to blow things up.
Durant is saying my theory is that guys like Steve, Skip, and Shannon have changed the game for the worse. Steph and MJ can only push it forward. So the take has not gotten tired then, right? Because if you're telling me that Kendrick Perkins, this is a good take, and the masters of this are the masters of the peddling of this particular smut are arguing with Kevin Durant on what I believe are the last days of the take. I believe people are pretty fed up with the idea that 5 or 6 guys give the opinions, and they've got to be more and more outlandish.
What evidence do you think that people are sick of this?
I think you have burned up Kevin Durant in a way that you've made a superstar unlikable because he's feuding with the media. And I believe that the contention between these wrestling personalities and the sports figures have made it so that all of this is less likable than it used to be. That sports is less fun because this is the game being played where professional wrestler Kendrick Perkins is out there, telling Pat Riley how to manage his team.
I think athletes are not saying they're tired of it. I think they're saying they want to fight it. Like, that's what Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala are talking about, including on our podcast network. They're talking about basically saying, we think that people who have platforms don't know what they're talking about, so we're going to fight them. I think what is coming next is a response to the take era, not the end
That's
of
correct.
the take era.
No, but that's correct. The response to this is what I am saying about how it is that it's going to die. It's going to die because people are going to be unmasked. You can't keep having the analysis be so much better than the random flip-flop of the moment when Draymond Green comes over. And it doesn't mean he's right about everything, Stugotz, but he can come over and break down a game and you're listening to it and you're like, oh, wait a minute. That's not what the people on television are saying at all. Like this, where JJ Redick is talking and you're like, oh, he knows a lot more than the other people who are trying to communicate this to us.
Hasn't that always been the case, though?
Oh, no, the athlete as communicator. No, the microphones are limited, Stugotz. It has not been a meritocracy on the people who deserve to be heard all get microphones on this.
But haven't we always operated under the assumption that Chris Collinsworth knows more about what's going on the field inside a game than Al Michaels? Haven't we?
Collinsworth is an interesting one. I'm talking about the mainstream voices,
Okay.
all of them. You're citing the one guy that you
Right.
associate with analytics and evolving, and a lot of he's not fighting. Collinsworth isn't fighting with people.
I view guys like Draymond Green and Iguodala and Collinsworth. Of course, they know the game, the situations better than I do. But I view guys like Skip and Stephen A. They're fans. They root the way I do. They careen the way I do. One day someone's the best, the next day they're not. One day their coach is the best, the next day they want him fired. That's how fans. And I think as long as you're out there representing the fans, the hot take will always have a place.
But see,
Dan.
this is why I believe though that they're media. They're not fans. This is a distortion.
But they're fans. They're glorified fans, is what they are.
Okay, but that's not what they're playing on television, Stugotz. And that's a recent phenomenon. Stephen A. rooting against the Cowboys. That's all new. That's not what you grew up with. They're fans. that we're fans, that the ones like, no, you're talking about Mike and the Mad Dog as a creative entity. Stephen A. Smith and those guys weren't on television as fans.
No, not Mike and the Mad Dog were fans, though. They let you know that they were fans. Mike was a Yankee fan. Russo was a San Francisco Giants fan. Mike was a New York Giants fan. Sports radio is a bit different. It has changed where journalists are now like Stephen A. Smith is telling you, hey, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm this fan. Skip Bayless is saying, hey, I'm a Cowboys fan. Like, that's changed a little bit, and it changed when Michael Wilbon wore a Cubs hat during an interview after the Cubs won a World Series.
And tucked in his Cubs jersey while throwing first pitch into his jeans. It did seem to change there.
Because if that guy's going to admit his allegiance to that guy, okay, that guy in particular, then anyone's going to be willing to do it.
We're bouncing around a take back here that it's actually Bill Simmons' fault because he was like an actual journalist and then became like a podcasting personality superstar and was full send on all the Boston sports teams. And I feel like that happened prior to 2016 when the Cubs were in the World Series.
Oh, but his writing has always been from a
He was
from
always a fan, and that's
he was like a columnist, right?
Yes, but always from the voice of the fan. I've heard Jackie McMullen kind of jokingly blame him. Because I think a lot of people saw that lane. It's like, oh, voice of the sports fan. We got it.
So I'm right. It is Bill Simmons' fault.
Right.
Long before
Hell
that,
yeah.
long before that, sports radio contaminated everything.
Time for a spin, or what are we thinking
Yes,
here?
Stugotz said that that sports radio is a different animal.
It is.
It's infected everything. It's a different animal that has a viral
animal with rabies
strain of
It's worked out well for you, my friend.
Infection.
Yeah.
Yes, it has. You too, Stugotz.
I know.
I don't know why it is that you are excusing yourself from this. Spin the wheel again.
Oh, wow. Is Joe Musgrave? It should be Grave. I know it's Grove. It should be Grave.
That's not on the wheel.
Good
It's
save.
not on the wheel. I don't know.
It's on my wheel. You spin the national wheel.
What gymnastics by
Wrong
you, though?
wheel.
What a save.
No,
Thank
it
you.
wasn't
Like,
much of a
it should be
save.
Musgrove.
It should be
I
Musgrave.
know it's not.
He chose something that wasn't on the wheel, and then
It's the national
he's
the one
wheel.
that sees
Yeah.
the wheel.
It's
Yeah.
his topic, and
He looked at the wrong wheel.
he
spun the wrong
spelled
wheel.
the name
Spin it again.
Spin
the Miami wheel, yeah.
Spin
as
it.
well.
The local wheel. The local one. Thank you. Tua. Wow. Oh my God. Tua.
Muscle and Fitness magazine interview. Stugotz, this is a stat, and we're gonna be doing the analysis of Tua game to game. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
He led the NFL in completion percentage on passes at least 25 yards downfield. Led the NFL completing passes at least 25 yards downfield, completing 50% of them. But he only attempted 18, second fewest in the league.
Why are we laughing at that?
I know.
That's good. That's something to build on.
But
We'll
I'm
do more
laughing
of that this
too.
year.
This is the interview, though, where he says to Muscle and Fitness, among other things, because his arm strength, he says, has gotten stronger. But he says they didn't go downfield at all, Stugotz, because there were no plays to push the ball downfield. Didn't have plays to push the ball downfield. That most of the plays were, he said he had trouble with comprehension at the beginning, and that most of the plays were one option, and if that option is dead, I don't have any other plays.
I have a question for you, Dan. When you clicked on this article on muscleandfitness.com and it gave you the little pop-up and you have to click either get in shape or no, I don't want to be cut, which one did you click on? Because I clicked on no, I don't want to be cut.
I just got the aggregated version of the quote so that I wouldn't have to be bothered with anything muscle or fitness related.
What would you have clicked, though? I mean, honestly.
I would not have clicked get in shape. I would click the little X, get out of here.
Get cut? You don't wanna get cut?
Get out of my life.
I also read, speaking of getting cut, the Miami Herald did a whole piece on Tua's off-season regimen and how he's, was 60%
Best
of who
shape
he was
of his
supposed to be.
life.
Best shape of his life. Lower body wasn't working right in his first 2 seasons. His body fat percentage was a bit too high. And it's all like It's the same offseason. Last offseason, it was everyone telling me how great Tua is. And again, this
So you want him to get
offseason-
fat? Do you wish it was like
What do
the
you
opposite
want? Him
report?
to just give
No.
up?
He was at a
retire?
movie theater
Cool.
eating a large popcorn
Don't
with
try
extra butter.
anymore.
Take it from me, I was a Steelers fan for the last 10 years of Ben Roethlisberger's career. As soon as they're doing this quarterback is in the best shape of his life thing every offseason, you're already in trouble.
They're not supposed to be doing it this young into his career. And I'm with Whittingham on the idea of why does it always feel like I'm opening my door and there's a salesman there to tell me why Tua's good?
Instead of Tuanon, it should be like Jehovah's Witnesses or something like that.
It's because football shit gets clicks, and there's nothing to talk about this time of year. So they're like, all right, I got to talk about Tua. What can I do? Oh, he looks great.
Yeah.
Boom, you clicked on it.
Yeah.
I did because I need anything Tua related to sustain and feed this sports radio thing that has infected everyone. I am genuinely curious if the audience is experiencing Tua differently than other quarterbacks in the league, because it feels like someone's always trying to sell you some Tua.
Someone's also always trying to shit on Tua, so that's why it works. Because they'll write a positive thing so that you can feed off of the positivity and just shit all over how bad he looks.
So the original genesis, so he also said in his last press conference of minicamp that he's tired of the keyboard warriors. And that all begins because of the Tua charm offensive. They're trying to showcase a video of Tua throwing it deep to Tyreek Hill, and then it has 2 million views in 2 days because everyone is Zapruder film analyzing the throwing of Tua deep passes.
No.
I mean, why did they post that video? Like, I know we've covered this already, but it was a bad video.
A good pass. It was at
Bad
a race.
pass.
It was at a racetrack. Are we forgetting this?
Oh, please, Billy.
Like the gas station, or
No, like
No, like
at a Formula
One race.
Next to a marina. It was crazy, the elements there. All the wind. This is a chicken egg situation, right?
exactly.
Why are you so positive? Why are you so negative? Why do you love Tua? Why do you hate Tua? Where did this start? Who knows?
Do you guys get the trending topics thing when you go on Twitter? And for me, the top trending thing that it says like trending for you is always Miami Dolphins and Tua. I think it's based on location, and it's all people tweeting like themselves in Tua jerseys or just talking about how much they love Tua. It's never anything like newsworthy, no like reporting or anything. It's just tons of Tua fans on Twitter. Every time I go on the trending thing, it's so weird.
How about the quote? We didn't push the ball downfield because we didn't have plays that pushed the ball downfield. Is it the coaches? This is also right. I believe there was something else aggregated. I think Albert Wilson signed and said that that everything around the Dolphins last year, I think I've got this right, it was paraphrased, was everybody felt like they were walking in a single file line on eggshells, that it was an unhappy place to be. But if there are no plays in the playbook, if the quarterback's saying we didn't have any plays to push the ball downfield, doesn't that suggest we don't need to analyze it anymore? The reason that they weren't calling those plays is because they didn't think that he could execute them. It's not like they would have said to themselves, Stugotz, we're good at this, let's not do it.
Right. Some of the receivers they got, like Will Fuller, some deep threats, were not available to them last year. I'll say that. Like Jalen Waddle could be a deep threat. Devontae Parker is a deep threat.
He wasn't used
right?
as one. Devontae Parker was not used as a deep threat
right.
either.
And you have to ask yourself why when you have those two wide receivers.
Well, but I would say again though, like if the quote is we didn't push the ball downfield because we didn't have plays that pushed the ball downfield. Again, you believe in offense. People whose jobs are on the line on making sure that offense works, that they decided to not have those plays because they thought they could execute them well. Let's see here. There's an easy way to score down the field, 40 yards downfield. I don't want to do that. We're good at it, but I don't ever want to call that. Or was it never called because they weren't good at it?
But also, it could be they don't have offensive linemen that can block for it, which is the difficult thing in separating all of this, and why we're very much on a collision course with 6 years of Ryan Tannehill, 6 years of Tua, where we still don't know by the end of it if you have a quarterback. Or I guess certain sections of the fan base don't.
No, we're not going 6 years on that. It's this year. It's not going to go
You
beyond.
think so?
Yes, I don't think this is going to
We'll
be
see.
unless somebody gets hurt for 7 games and you can't make an assessment.
I actually think it's more likely now because you bring over the Mike Shanahan offense, and they're just going ahead with Jimmy Garoppolo because it doesn't seem like those guys really think that having a superstar quarterback is that important. Because there's like, I mean, I guess they did go for Trey Lance, but they seem to be okay with a certain level of quarterback play as long as it fits within the system.
Well,
and they
Tua
think they
says
can
he's
win with
getting
it.
along very well with Mike McDaniel, that it's all very positive, that he feels freer, that he's open to speak freely, that he doesn't have to be as careful, that Mike McDaniel is helping with the positivity.
That's good. Is it
great.
not? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too
Right.
bad that Brady's here next year, but have a fun year, everybody.
But also, there's so many contradicting factors here because you have, on the one hand, offensive line. On the one hand, offensive coordinators with poor or no reputations in George Godsey and Chan Gailey in your first 2 years as Dolphins quarterback. But you also have the counterfactual that Ryan Fitzpatrick was good for that coach and good for that offense and pushed the ball downfield and had one of the most dynamic offenses that the Dolphins have had in my life, which is embarrassing, but true. Ryan Fitzpatrick was able to work this offense, and Tua could not. So I guess we keep changing the variables until you figure out Tua's just not that guy, or maybe he is. But I think it's increasingly likely that he's not.
You mentioned Ryan Fitzpatrick, and it brings me to one of the topics on the wheel that it did not land on, but I thought Deadspin wrote a great headline. Bearded millionaire calls it quits after 17-year run built on mediocrity.
Which bearded billionaire is this about?
Bearded millionaire.
Millionaire.
17-year run of mediocrity. Were you not listening when?
Oh, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Can we talk about it though? It didn't.
It
you
didn't
know,
land on
yeah,
it, so.
right.
No, we cannot talk about it until it lands on it. Go ahead and spin it. I love the idea of it. LeBron's the bearded billionaire. The new bearded billionaire is LeBron. I love the idea of Ryan Fitzpatrick building a billionaire career on a 17-year run of mediocrity.
Oh wow. Is Joe Musgrove a horse?
That's not on that wheel.
Oh, he keeps spinning the national wheel.
That wasn't the national wheel. I saw that it was the local
spin
wheel.
the wheel. Oh, no, that was the national one. Musgrove came up there. Spin it again. Your lucky day, Dan. Oh, wait. Oh, your lucky day.
Wait,
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
What just happened there?
I didn't know there was another click.
Okay, but you said my lucky day before it clicked.
Well, it stayed right where it was. It was about to turn over to the next topic, but it stayed on Ryan Fitzpatrick.
What
Your
was
lucky
the
day.
next topic, just out of curiosity?
I don't know. I can't see it from here.
You could just see that it wasn't Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yes,
Now that you forgot the topics.
of course. He threw a lot at me on a Monday morning. Anyway, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the bearded millionaire.
One of
I
the
love
most,
that he'll write down everyone's top 5, but he won't write down all the topics on the wheel.
It's a lot on a Monday.
I mean,
Well, he doesn't need to because they're on the wheel.
Well, he can't
Chris.
see them.
Yeah, they're
So
on
when
the
he heard them, if you can't see the wheel, you might as well write them down.
right.
But every top 5 list, you got to write that down.
That's a good point.
We should move the wheels so you could see the local one not as good as you could see the national
You're
one. 'cause
right,
The
Billy.
national one is right in your line of sight.
From
It's-
Whittingham.
yeah.
Is Ryan Fitzpatrick one of the most amazing stories in the history of sports? Just all of it. All of it. Just 17 years out of Harvard. Every team in the AFC East basically at one point or another went after Belichick with that. Went after Belichick and Brady with that. He should be inducted with Belichick and Brady.
Really?
He should do their speeches.
Just hanging by the ankles of the bust.
He should be a part of everything that they're doing when in the dynasty interviews and everything else, when they do the 12-part series on how did the Patriots do it. I want long interviews with Ryan Fitzpatrick in all of the uniforms that kept going after Belichick as he roared with laughter every offseason when the Dolphins and the Jets and the Bills all said Ryan Fitzpatrick is the answer. 17 years.
Crazy.
That's an unbelievable career.
And I really thought at the end of it that he was going to help Washington. That he was such an upgrade on what they had that I really thought that Washington was going to take a step with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. I have genuine admiration for Ryan Fitzpatrick as a quarterback. I enjoyed his time in Miami. I think he's my favorite quarterback since Dan Marino.
Get out of here. Pennington?
Really do.
Chad Pennington? He was second in MVP
Jay
voting.
Fiedler.
Take it back. Chad
Not
Pennington.
Tannehill,
Jay
not
Cutler.
Tua, not.
Fitzpatrick is way more fun than even Pennington. I
Why
know it was
does-
his second MVP season.
Why does Fitzpatrick avoid criticism? When he went to a water park weeks, according to a caller to a Washington radio station, he went down the big bowl weeks before at a water park. The regular season started, injured himself, and really put the Commanders' season in jeopardy. In fact, he did.
You can absolutely link everything that went wrong for Snyder with that phone call from the flume at that water park. That everything went sideways right there because a lot of people winning him. I mean, I had Foxworth and Mina were on television telling me that that Washington was a piece away and that Ryan Fitzpatrick was that piece.
Is that the first ever career-ending water park injury?
I think
Alleged.
so. Yeah.
Alleged from a caller. We don't know if that's true. His season just ended and no one reported accurately.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you injure your hip that badly on the bull ride?
Because you're Ryan Fitzpatrick, and
Yes.
and that's exactly how I imagine he goes down. He's like, I'm going head first. I don't care that I've built a 17-year run of millionaire mediocrity upon this body that's almost broken. I'm going head first. I imagine he goes beard first on the water flume. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does Ryan Fitzpatrick go beard first if he's sliding down a rocket water flume?
Do you think he'll be a good announcer? Ryan Fitzpatrick? Because
Yes.
I kind of do.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he'll be great. I think he'll be.
The beard is a flotation device, right?
It is. I mean, any other quarterback does that weeks before the season, or a good quarterback does that, and they're getting criticized. No, whether it's true or not.
Wow, you just said it is and moved on to whatever it is you wanted to say there. You didn't have any interest in her flotation. She threw you a flotation device and you threw it to the side. You're like, I don't want this beard as a flotation device. I want
Head
to go
first,
I want
Dano.
to go right back to criticizing Fitzpatrick for a flume incident that may or may not happen, according to a
We
caller.
have
Billy said it happened.
we
There's
have
a
it did
vigorous
happen.
debate happening
A
back
huge
here.
debate as to whether when the last time Dan Le Batard went to a water park was. Has Dan ever been to the Rapids here in Florida? No.
No, it's been a long time since I was at a water park. I like pools, but a water like going down. Oh, I've done that in the Bahamas. I've gone down like a slide in the Bahamas or
nailed it.
a
That's what I
lazy
said.
stream. Yeah. But that's not the same thing. That's
That's
not
a water park. The Bahamas
Yeah.
water park is a water park.
I mean,
It's not rapids, though.
There's a lazy
not Wet
river.
n Wild.
There's multiple rides.
There's
Are
a
you a
lazy-
wave pool guy?
Yes, there's a wave pool.
Yeah, there's a wave pool. There's a lazy river that's not so lazy, by the way.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know?
see Dan standing in a line to go down a water slide.
Well, he didn't wait in the line.
I don't see Dan standing in a line to do anything. You think he stands in line to get coffee?
When's the
Please.
last time you stood in a line?
I often stand in line.
I don't believe it.
I just
come on.
just yesterday.
Dan walks into a restaurant. If there's a long line to get to the front desk, he's like, "All right, we're leaving." Get out of here.
I had an old woman at Whole Foods yell at me the other day because she wanted she's a very old woman, but it was in a line, and it's because she was making sure to stake out her territory. Nobody was getting in front of her in the line. So that was yesterday.
Yeah, well, she didn't want your dog to cut her in line, Dan.
Why didn't you take Jessica's bearded flotation device question anywhere?
I don't know. It was weird.
You just went right back to criticizing Ryan Fitzpatrick for something that you don't know is true or not.
I think it's true, Dan. Like, I'm looking back at the story now. The caller seems pretty convinced.
I didn't see that the wheel also has that the Mets have in their minor league system a player named Fidel Castro.
Really?
Yes, I heard a home run call that I just did not. It was as shocking to me as hearing Adolf Hitler. I just couldn't believe that there was a player named Fidel Castro roaming around the minor leagues as part of a home run call, playing for your beloved Mets.
It's odd.
I think somebody wrote me this weekend saying you got to go by Dell in that situation.
Del Castro?
You gotta just change it.
Dude, Fidel Castro's parents not have access to Google. How does that happen?
I mean, I don't understand how it happens. Billy, you're not optimistic, though. I know that run differential, especially over 60 games, isn't the best measurement, but I believe that this Marlins team is better than the one that made it to the playoffs. I believe you have two guys at the top of your rotation that you trust that will go out there, and unless it's in Colorado, they're going to be great. And not most teams. Most teams don't have that, even though the Padres have Joe Musgrave.
They don't have offense. They need offense.
Should be Musgrave.
Yeah. Chris doesn't think that he's an ace, and he has a good reason why.
If you're a real ace, you make other pitchers better.
There you go. What?
Huh?
There's just something about a real ace. You don't with pitchers. There's so much with pitching that's like give little tips. Oh, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You're just saying what?
Well,
He's
first of all,
just saying,
Billy's
yeah.
doing this thing that I said something jokingly off air.
He's
And he's
saying-
like, Chris said he's not an ace, and it's like it was more tongue in cheek. If
He's
he was
saying-
really good, he'd make Eliza Hernandez better. I was
Yeah,
kind of doing
Eliezer
it.
Hernandez would have been better if he was an ace.
And then it
I
turned
mean,
then
he's
you,
not wrong.
you
He
felt
just
your
got
take
demoted.
unraveling as you were
well, it
giving
just turns
it.
into a thing where Billy's building it up like I legitimately say he's not an ace.
But
He's
do
here to support,
aces,
as he says.
Yeah.
That's all I'm here for. Do aces have people in their rotation get sent down to the minors? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Thanks for the help, Billy.
He's just asking now on your behalf. He wants to lob out there after
It's
getting.
a good question. These are questions that we're having.
It is not a good
What do
question
you
to
mean?
ask whether an ace makes any other pitcher on the staff any better. It's not a good question to ask.
Well, I don't think it's a. I mean, now I'm going to start defending my ridiculous take. I'm not saying it disqualifies him from being an ace, but I think the best pitcher on a staff should be trying to make the other pitchers around him better. I don't know that
By
he's
setting
not.
the tone or
I'm
by
sure, I'm
teaching?
sure Sandy is. I'm just like there is something to making the other pitchers better.
But just help me out here. Is it by setting a tone that the other pitchers, like an environment, a work ethic, or
And how would you
are
know
you
that he
actually
isn't?
helping the other pitchers?
well, I just said I don't know he is.
Well, he
Right.
knows that he isn't because they're getting sent down to the minor leagues. That's why he's saying if anybody gets sent down to the minor leagues as a pitcher, the ace has not done his job. That's what Chris Cody is out here arguing.
The real guy skating is Avisail Garcia. We signed him a big contract, and I
Well,
believe he has
that's right.
5 extra base hits all season.
But is that Sandy's job also as the ace?
Well, that's
or
what I mean.
no?
This is on Sandy.
Or
That's
is
why
that
I'm-
the best hitter's job?
why I'm bringing it up.
That should be Miguel Rojas' job,
We also
right?
had
if he's
Jazz.
the captain.
We had Jazz batting 9th
Right.
in yesterday's game. That's just annoying to me what he's doing with Jazz.
You know-
Well, Donnie's not long for this job.
Guys, you think about it, though. Greg Maddux was the ace of the Braves staff, and they never sent down Glavin. They never sent down Avery. They never sent down Smoltz. Maddox was doing his job.
Exactly.
Zagacki.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a Dookie bomb, Billy?
What's that?
You said Donnie's not long for this job.
I did?
You just
You
did.
just got done
Oh.
saying that.
Well.
Sounded like news.
Hey, drop the dookie.
We know you have sources.
Great point, Chris.